Welcome, everyone, to our 10-year anniversary celebration. It's been a long time coming.
Oh, yeah. Hella long, right? Man.
So I'm Andrea Manso. I realize not everybody knows who I am. Andrea Manso, Regional Equity Director for Building Healthy Communities.
And I'm Chago, Neighborhood Organizer. Actually a new team member, but not so new. And before we get started, want to acknowledge that we are on native land. Want to acknowledge that this is what folks, excellent folks, recognize as the ensign. And not just the Isilin, but also the Ohlone, Amamutsun, the Salinan, Rumsen, and all our folks here with us today. So, we're gonna have we got a lot to go over. We got like 10 plus years to recognize, to celebrate, to reflect. And so let's do this.
We know it won't truly honor all of the work that we've been doing, but you know what? We hope that it gets a glimpse of that, a glimpse of celebration to honor the work that we've been doing together. And so today we're gonna have a series of interviews, both live and video, and we're gonna get to take a trip back to some years ago, and we want you to be able to engage with us through the event today. So chat with us, let us know if you have an experience you want to share with BHC, anything you want to share. Please let us know. A shout out when we mention someone's name, please do that on the chat. So I think everybody knows who BHC is, but just in case, BHC Monterey County, our mission is to activate resident voice and power to build an inclusive, anti-racist democracy and a safe and thriving community. And so I think we're going to start by honoring, our staff, the current staff that we have. So it's taken a lot to get our BHC team, a lot of work, right? We started as a convener.
As a convener, and now here we are. We're at this point where we're connecting, we're organizing, and we're engaging, and we're taking it to another level.
Something that wasn't envisioned before, right?
And that's right. I mean, we can't even imagine what it was back, 2010, 2011, 2012, and look at us now.
Right. So, this is our BHC team.
Check it out. We got one right there.
I think we're going.
There we go. Boom.
First picture from COVID. After COVID, this is our team. Special thanks to the BHC staff. Everyone knows who I am. I think it's flipping back and forth. Do I keep going through the staff? Is that a good idea? Yeah, okay.
There you go.
So that's
Who's
me.
that right there?
Sunset shot, but that's me. Alma Cervantes, our Regional Education Equity Manager. This is one of my favorite pictures of her.
Because it's with who?
Ana V.
Ana V.
It's so cute. I love this picture. Jesus Valenzuela, our Fund Development Organizer. Looks a very, very serious shot there.
Yeah, man, he's at work.
And Gabriela Manso, our Youth Equity Organizer. I don't know if everybody knows, but she just won. I mean, it's been all over social media and the news, but she won the state. She's a state champion for Civic Leadership Award.
State champ, and happens to be your sister.
Happens to be. And then we have Rosalind Green, our Regional Black Power Manager. And so she's starting up a lot of work around Black leadership and Monterey County Black Caucus. And you're all going to hear a lot more about her later.
And looking hella dope, too, with that COVID mask. Still.
And then Laura Tinajero, Healing Informed Practices Coordinator. She's been holding it down with the healing.
Yeah, tell me about it. I mean, there was like a semester I spent at Rancho Cielo. I couldn't have done it without her.
And Alma Loredo, our Padres Unidos organizer. She started out as a parent leader, and now she's organizing Padres Unidos.
She's calling shots.
Maria Vera, Senior Program Assistant. You know that we couldn't do half of the stuff we do without Maria.
Yeah, no, she keeps us organized, keeps us on point. Thank you, Maria.
Marlene Garcia, our Communications Coordinator. She had a lot to do with this event. Anything you see on social media, it is her. It's all her.
It's all her, and she does it on her own. Pretty much.
And Chago.
Hey, what up?
Newest addition to the team.
New addition, yeah. That's
well, semi-new.
Kind of a rookie.
Yeah, because you've been in the collaborative before, but
But here we are.
but our newest members that many of you may know in the community are Tanisha Dunn, who's our Seaside Thriving Neighborhoods organizer. So she's doing the land use related work out there. And then Deja Robinson. So she's helping out the Black Power building. She's the organizer.
Yep.
And so welcome. They're like a week and a half old.
Yeah.
And then we also have CHWs as part of Be The Project. But let's take a look back. The former staff. This is the original crew with Carmen, Elizabeth, Lucina, JC. We're going to see JC in a little bit.
Yeah.
And then we had Jeanette. We cannot wait for her to come back. Allie, Janet, Ruby, who's off in medical school. And she's going to be a great doctor. Manuel, Andrea Leon. All these folks supported the work. Moni that we just left us last year before COVID. Cesar too, right before COVID.
Yep.
And then Lavisha Franklin, and you're gonna get to see later today some of her art.
Yes, she is. Yeah.
And so thank you to all of the staff, the past, the present. Really appreciate all of the work that's being done.
All right. So before we go there, let's see who's around the corner right here. Former BHC staff, like at the beginning, from the get, the veterano right here, JC Gonzalez. That's it. That's the homie right there. He's doing some artwork for us live, and that artwork is gonna go up for auction towards the end. So be prepared, folks. He does some great work. He's an awesome artist. That's the brother.
Yes. And so next, we're gonna thank our sponsors. And so thanking those that really supported us to be able to make this happen. Natividad Hospital, Hartnell College, the California Endowment, Chispa, Envision Housing from Santa Cruz, the Teamsters. Really appreciate your support. Couldn't have been possible without that generous support, and we hope that we could continue to collaborate together, really to move our vision. An Action Council, who has been hosting us.
Been the home, pretty much.
Yeah, has been hosting us and really supporting them in our work. So thank you so much for doing that. And the Monterey Peninsula Foundation as well for their support.
Yes.
United Way.
Wow.
Really thank
for
First Five.
First Five, Francine Rod, right? Like all the work that she's put in. The champion that she is. Yeah, I just want to.
The Packard Foundation, really appreciate all of the support. So, the Nancy Buck Ransom Foundation, it's just really appreciating all of their support for the youth work, really. They're supporting a lot of the youth work.
And who else? Irvine?
Irvine has supported our work recently, So I'm really excited for what that collaboration will look like in the future. I think there's more opportunities coming.
Yeah, looking forward.
Yeah. All right, so next up, we have an interview with Lauren Valverde.
Yes.
We talked about her in the beginning, or we will be. So I'm going to welcome her on to do an interview with us.
Here we go. Lauren.
So, Lauren, this must be really emotional, looking back at the beginning of all of this. I thought maybe you could start telling us, I know we have a short conversation today, but I thought maybe you could start by telling us, how Salinas was chosen, what how this work has started to evolve for you, the way you witnessed it.
Thank you, Andrea, y muy buenas tardes. It's so good to see you. And it's emotional after over a year, almost a year and a half that we haven't seen each other in person. So it's really beautiful and just amazing to be here back in Salinas. Thinking back to your question about how Salinas was chosen, I work, as you all know, some of you know, I work at the California Endowment. I started prior to the initial launch of Building Healthy Communities in October of 2009. And before I came on, there was a lot of discussion in the foundation on what what comes next in terms of what will it take to really make lasting and fundamental changes that advance health and justice in California, particularly for our communities who are most impacted by health inequities. The idea of building healthy communities, a 10-year place-based community plan behind BHC was the idea that if we centered the lives of those most impacted by health inequities to lead in the design, in the solutions to systemic inequities, particularly health inequities, that we would see those changes be realized in a more durable way. And Salinas was originally one of, I think we had about 40 sites places that were in the mix, and it got whittled down to 14 community sites, which became the 14 formal sites known as Building Healthy Communities.
So tell me, why were you the best champion for this region?
Because I was born and raised here.
Exactly.
And so I felt like when I found out about this role and that it was in East Salinas, it hit me in my heart. My parents raised me here. My brothers immigrated from Guatemala to this community, and so it felt like I was coming back home.
So how does Salinas and our region really stand out to you? You know, thinking about the evolution of the work.
That's a great question, Andrea. I mean, all of the 14 communities really shine in their own way. There's so much history behind each of these communities that I think sort of sets the stage for how the initiative would play out. I think in Salinas, what was most, for me personally, coming back to this community was there was a reminder of some of those inequities that I experienced when I was young and that my parents experienced around health and housing access were very present when I came back. Like, it felt familiar. The issues still felt very familiar. And I think what was so transformational as community was the idea that not only could residents be and those most impacted be designing solutions and advocating for change the way that they felt was the best way forward, but that it could be done in a way that addressed the structural root causes of why things the way they are, why things are the way that they are. And I think that journey into learning how to do that has been one of the most transformational aspects of this initiative in Salinas. And watching young people who started when they were 18 and who, I just saw someone right now who 10, 11, 12 years later is now thriving and a leader in her own right, that's the transformation.
And we're going to hear a little bit about that later.
Yes, we are.
But just want to take a moment to say, what are one of your biggest highlights in this past, I know it's a lot. It's been a lot of years. So what are one of your biggest highlights?
There's so many. I was thinking about some of those as I was driving on my way here from Sacramento. The wins. When residents were working so hard to organize and to outline a plan for how they were going to engage an elected or how they were going to engage government leaders or education leaders and actually making progress. And whether it was a policy win, it didn't even have to be a policy win, but something that residents felt like we're on the right path. We just need to keep pushing. But not just the policy and structural wins for me, some of the most gratifying moments were feeling like this community is now my family.
Yeah.
I witnessed weddings. I got to be at funerals. I got to see the day-to-day life in Salinas that I was so honored to be part of. And I think both of those just stay with me.
Thank you so much, Lauren. I think you want to share your picture quickly to end this. This is in 2009.
I started at the California Endowment October 1st, 2009. It was a Thursday, and I was told that I needed to show up for a community meeting at Martin Luther King School on October 5th to share what the 10-year BHC plan was about. And I asked at the end of the meeting to take the photo, and this is the first photo of that first meeting. And so I treasure it, and it's very meaningful to be able to show it 10 years later.
Thank you so much, Lauren, for always being a champion for our work. And I know now in your new position, it'll be different, but you still have us in your heart. So
Always.
thank
Absolutely.
you so much.
Siempre. Thank you.
So now we're going to hear a little bit about some of our supporters, and we'll come back.
Hi friends, this is Wendy Root Askew, your District 4 Monterey County Supervisor, and I just wanted to say, keep up the good work. You are making a phenomenal difference in Monterey County, and we are so proud and grateful to the advocacy, to the voices of change that Building Healthy Communities has inspired and grown right here in Monterey County. We really appreciate all the work you're doing.
Congratulations, East Salinas BHC. You have given hope to so many youth and families from East Salinas and throughout Monterey County. Thank you so much. Cheers to the next 10 years.
¿Qué tal amigos? This is Adriana Frederick Sutton, reporter from Noticias Univision Costa Central. I want to wish Building Healthy Communities a happy 10-year anniversary. For many years, this organization has helped in providing information, resources, assistance, guidance to many underserved residents in our community. Thank you very much for your hard work. Quiero agradecer a la organización Building Healthy Communities por su gran trabajo durante los pasados 10 años, dando información, asistencia, recursos a la comunidad que más lo necesita. Un feliz aniversario y muchos años más de éxitos. Les desea Adriana Frederick Sutton.
Thank you so much for those congratulations. You know, it's really heartfelt to see people say thank you.
Yeah. Especially Elizabeth, like that took us back. That took me back. So thank you all for that love. And now just kind of go back to our sponsors. We want to just give it up to the sponsors again. I mean, like what's the list of the sponsors again? Can you?
Natividad Hospital.
Natividad Hospital.
We have Envision Housing. We have
Chispa.
The California Endowment, Hartnell College, Teamsters. So thank you so much for all of your support today. And it looks like John Silva and Steve McShane are in the chat.
You guys are in the chat.
Thank you for joining us today.
Councilmember McShane, Dr. John Silva.
And Action, again, for being our fiscal sponsor, supporting us since 2013.
Since 2013.
They were housed there, yeah.
Wow. All right.
And thank you to our funders, the Monterey Peninsula Foundation, Nancy Beck Ransom, Packard Foundation, Community Foundation for Monterey County, First Five, United Way, the Irvine Foundation, James Irvine Foundation. So thank you so much for supporting all of our work.
Making this happen. And who else do we need to just give it up? We're gonna give. Let's see who can give it up. Let's give it up to the past 10 years. Let's give it up to what we got, what we have to share.
You know, this next piece is gonna feel a little bit like a podcast.
Yeah, a little bit of a podcast kind of action.
Yeah. All right. So, what are we gonna do with this now? We have a quick PowerPoint to show you all.
Got a quick PowerPoint, a little snapshot. I mean, like a photo album. Let's go through this photo album.
And so, you know, recognizing kind of in the beginning who was here in that photo that Lauren shared with us, you know, Judy and Karina were leading the way around that planning process. And, you know, they had what was called the host agency team, the HAT, which included, you know, Second Chance, the Family Resource Center, and Action. And I actually got hired by Brian.
From Second Chance, Brian?
Yes, and it was one of the scariest interviews of my life.
He's kind of intimidating, but yeah, no, but a good guy, man.
And so thanks to Brian and Annabelle and Larry for continuing the work, and we just saw Lauren, you know, always being a champion for this work.
Yes. And let's take a look at the organizations that came out of the BHC. All right, I'm speaking mostly around MILPA, Motivating Individual Leadership for Public Advancement. That's right. I mean, this crew came out from 2013, and it all came under the leadership of the brothers Juan Gomez and John Pineda, and a few other like brothers that were there in the beginning, and maybe we'll get a chance to somehow, some way, we'll get a chance to recognize them. And the Urban Arts Collaborative, that's our man over here. It's the JC Gonzalez. I remember the first time I got to see him. I mean, I remember him from back in the day, but then to be able to reunite around this work back in 2011, 2012, I mean, he's just doing it big. And we also got the BHC. I mean, the BHC started out as a convener, but now we're more than that. It's been through a lot to be where we're at now.
And then we have the Community Alliance for Racial Equity. So these are all the organizations that are part of the work now. That was formerly the BHC Collaborative. And, the CARE is made up of community-based organizations that are dedicated to activating that resident voice and power for the policy and systems change needed to close those racial equity gaps. And so all of them are working to really build resident leadership, resident power, and to build collective community power.
And that collective community power is embodied by the Comité de Acosta Plaza. And this comité, I mean, it's done so much to engage their residents, engage the residents of the Acosta Plaza. And starting with our man, Joel, and the efforts to organize their committees, the comité, around engaging around the historic Sanborn Ranch House. Now that ranch house is the original home of the Sanborn family. Back in the day, they used to throw parties in that ranch house. It had its own water tower, it had horse stables, and an indoor pool.
Padres Unidos, they have been doing phenomenal work in the schools, and so a shout out to Alma Cervantes that, she really built this work from the ground up, from scratch. She worked, teamed up with Alma Loredo to start it, and then Maria Carmen Parra and Gabriela Silva were kind of the core team that helped, take this vision to reality. No one was really organizing education that way, and they were building interconnected systems and are working with young people to transform our systems. Phenomenal work.
Systems, transformational powers, all of that, we're seeing it manifest in Seaside. That's right. This power, this movement building, all under the leadership of Miss Rosalind Green, who we'll get to hear in a little bit. And, she's organizing around parents from MPUSD and the city of Seaside. And part of that work, keeping school resource officers out of the schools and organizing from the east side to seaside, like the march we did last year.
Man, I realized I had hip issues with that march. I didn't know before then.
It was 14 miles long, but it was worth
and the Resident Leadership Academy, the Labor Council really anchoring that work. It started with Rayburn. I don't know if you ever heard him play.
I heard of him, but didn't hear him.
It was good. And then Marian Briz, and then Veronica Diaz is taking it to the next level. And, this really was an effort to center residents in this toward a racially equitable Monterey County work. Say that 10 times.
Towards racial equitable.
And really giving them the tools, to develop their leadership, engage and organize and take leadership positions in the city. And so it has really risen up to the level. Really excited.
And this is something to be excited about, the work of Mujeres en Acción. They've become really integral in this work, all under the leadership of Maria Elena Manso. She's working with women to build their leadership skills, engage in campaign and organizing efforts across the county, as well as collaborating with a lot of other organizations in this work.
And then our land use work, I think our biggest is, the Alsa Vibrancy Fund. This is something we all connected with, that Jeanette spearheaded. And, from what I understand, it came out of the table that Don Sabino was sitting at the community meeting.
Legend has it.
Yeah, and Monica then took it to the next level, but it really was how we were thinking about planning and community-driven planning, and elevated really our standards for community engagement. And so, really investing in the east side. It was passed in 2019, and we're going to get to see much more around implementation this year.
And much more on the implementation, and a lot of that drawn from the youth leadership, which, is spawned by Ciclovia from back in Ciclovia! I'm always getting that wrong. All right.
Gabi's going to talk to you after this.
I know, yeah. Gabi's going to. You know what's funny? I heard that Gabi, back in the day when they were first organizing, wasn't really trying to attend these meetings, but she did. I heard because of her mom. And then after attending that meeting, was immediately impacted and was able to come back and continue this work. And from this work, we get to see groups like Septed and La Cosecha making big moves.
Yeah, really elevated the youth leadership and power. And talking about youth leadership, do you remember when CCA didn't organize youth?
Dang, I like, it's like, how do you? I can't even imagine that.
Exactly,
Like,
but with Joel Hernandez's vision, he really took it upon himself, created Youth for Change for the young people in Acosta Plaza. They worked on the basketball court, the Sanborn House, and now they're working on Car Lake with Azucena Barrios' leadership. And so I'm really excited for what Car Lake's going to look like.
And we're really excited to see how this has grown in the past few years of healing-informed practices. Now, this all began with under Second Chance. And our sister, Laura Tinajero, she was a big part of bringing that in, all under the guidance of the maestro Jerry Teo, And we're grounded in that work, and that's what keeps us going, keeps this movement building. And we can't forget the Familia Milpa, motivating individual leadership for public advancement. Again, this is the focus and commitment to at-promise youth, young boys and men of color. And, I never imagined, like, growing up in Salas, that there would be an organization like this that would make this kind of focus, around facilitating círculos, organizing internships, impacting and creating the change at multiple levels, and grounded in the healing and developing the leadership of systems impacted folks. You know what I'm talking about. A lot of our community here, and ultimately focusing on the divestment from incarceration and criminalization to the reinvestment of our communities. Thank you, Milpa.
And IRAM has been doing a great job with the young women.
Oh, yeah.
She's rising up in the leadership. It's just incredible work.
Yes, it is.
So now with the leadership of Roslyn, we've been really seeing a rise of Black-led organizing throughout the years. We talked about the East Salinas to Seaside expanding. And really following the murder of George Floyd, there has been more investment in leadership and organizing. And it's really a demonstration of how we've gone throughout the years.
And throughout the years, there were a lot of stories that came, from the start, the support that my crew, my family, Baktun 12, we came out of the 90s, and here we were, like, in the early 2000s, we're talking like 2010, 2011, 2012, when BHC, like, actually the California Endowment, noticed us and supported us in doing stories at Costa Plaza. This was a project that, that was dedicated to reframing this narrative. Did you know that between 1999 and the year 2012, there were 250 reports about Acosta Plaza? And can you guess, out of those 250, how many of those were positive?
How many?
10.
Wow.
Yeah. So we went ahead to change that, or do our best to go ahead and change that narrative and actually take steps back, capturing the history of the braceros. My pops, this production, inspired by the story of my father, my jefe, who passed away 2013, paz descanse. Man, he came in 1951. 1951, and like, I never knew his story. I never knew his story till he passed away, and that's what inspired me to at least do our best to bring this story to life for our community. And I'll tell you right now, there were up to 80 to 90% of the families that attended that show were all spawned by braceros.
Yeah, we were one of them. Mi abuelito fue bracero.
Check it out. And can't forget the contribution, the way the bar was raised by La Familia Avila, Freddy and Cristal. Cristal Gonzalez started working with the Resident Leadership Academy, class of 2018, put together stories from their experiences around housing to direct La Cortina de la Lechuga. This was basically our first touring show that went to Castroville, was here in Salinas and in Soledad.
It's the last one I saw before COVID, actually.
Dang, really?
And we had a real pivotal moment in 2014. Our work took a huge shift, when 4 Latino men were killed by police officers in 93905.
Angel Ruiz, Osman Hernandez, Carlos Mejia, Frank Alvarado Jr.
We realized, that these issues that were facing our community were deeper than the symptoms we were seeing. And it was really systemic racism. And so we began after that to center race deliberately and start our healing informed racial equity work, the TREMSI work we talked about. And so it led us to building this ecosystem approach, that really centers residents in the strategy. And everyone knows their unique role to be able to close that racial equity gap. And actually, we're about to launch our Learning to Action cohort with community and systems. So this work is still continuing.
Oh, yeah. It's continuing. But before we continue that, let's look at the big wins. I mean, big wins. The big win for me that made me like the firm believer was the win in order to keep school resource officers out of our campuses. I mean, it sounded kind of crazy back then, but it makes all the sense when allowing our neighborhood to define what safety is.
Padres Unidos really led that effort and collaboration with Milpa. It was a huge collective effort. And I know we don't have time for all the wins.
No.
There's so much in so many years.
Mm-hmm.
But, thinking about neighborhoods, I think one of the biggest ones to mention is the Sanborn Ranch House. So Chispa was able to acquire the property with the help of the Packard Foundation and the California Endowment in 2017. And so now CC has been working on that property. We still need a lot more investment to get it to where we want it to be. But that was one of the biggest wins, and with the Alta Vibrancy Plan in the neighborhoods, the land use area. And then with health, under the leadership of Copa, really getting Esperanza Care. So undocumented residents being able to have access to healthcare, the basics.
When was that?
That was in 2015, the pilot. And so there's still much more work to do from there. But now, recently, the Board of Supervisors passed the $4.9 million to the community health workers, which was a huge investment in our community to support folks during COVID, really.
Especially during this time of
and
COVID.
A lot of the folks here today are engaging in that. And so appreciating, especially our team that did the testing for us these past 2 days.
Yeah,
Thank you so much.
to make it safe for us to be here with you all today. And can't forget Jorge Salazar. Wow. Woo! A little emotional right there now. It kind of hit me. Oh, man. You would see him out in the streets and just by communicating, like just talking to the señor right here. Wow. He pretty much embodied what this movement was about, what this movement is about, really. Our residents, the youth, trusting ourselves to lead the way.
And before we had swag, he made his own vest. Do you remember?
Right.
He made his own vest and you rocked it, and he was always representing BHC.
Oh, yeah. Paz descanse.
And last but not least, Rosa Gonzalez. She has been guiding us, for the past few years around process. I like to call her the process queen. It's really been her spectrums. Everybody's seen her matrices, and, her vision and her love for this community has really inspired a lot of us. And so we want to take a time to thank you, and appreciate you for all the work.
Rosa's my beautiful wife. That's who she is.
And so we look forward to our continued work together, stronger in the next 10 years. I know that was only a glimpse of the real work, but I hope you were able to take you back a few years.
All right. So, here we go.
And this work wouldn't have been possible without all the dedication and passion of the youth and residents.
That's right.
So thank you to all of you.
And now let's go back to JC. All right. JC Gonzalez is creating a piece. Yes. It's up for auction, okay? And make sure, JC is a master at what he does. So it would be a great value, to have some of his work hanging on your walls, or to be able to share that to somebody that deserves it. All right. So,
hello everyone.
Man. This is
ready?
I'm super emotional. Look at you.
Yes, hello
got
everyone.
Fernanda Ocaña right here. Hey, Fernanda. Wow, man. I'm just splashing back right now. 2011. Just real quick. We did this. Remember the play?
Yes, I do. It was so much fun.
we were doing teatro in 2011, and it was a little experimental project, Teatro Alizal, right? And it was a big crew too. Where were you at? Where were you at that time? What were you doing at that time that we were doing this work back in 2011?
Oh, that's such a great question. Chago, during that time, I graduated from high school in 2010. So that 2011 year, I was actually going to Hartnell. And I was just trying to find myself. And I still lived in East Salinas. I love my East Salinas, my people, just the community as a whole. But that's really what I was doing. I was working a lot, and I was really just trying to find myself. And through the teatro, I was able to really touch on that side of me that as a young kid, I wanted to be an actress. I wanted to do all that good stuff. And I never had access to that. But with you, I did. And I had a blast with everyone involved. So that's a little bit of what I was doing during that time.
And what was it like? You know, you said, so you graduated right around that time. Like, what, I mean, for this initiative to take shape, like, when did you first hear it? And, you know, tell us about like how that impacted you to at that time and where you're at today.
Well, all I can say is building healthy communities did so much for me. During that, I was in high school when I first heard about this initiative that was coming in. I was working for a nonprofit during that time, Chago, and I was working for Girls Inc. And I remember my boss at the time, Patty, was like, hey, I need you to show up to this meeting. There's this new initiative. I just want you to represent and learn and just share your thoughts or whatever comes to mind, right? And I remember showing up and there weren't many young people. I think it was like 2 or 3 of us in that first meeting. And I looked around and I was like, oh, I don't feel like I belong here. But everyone there was very welcoming, and I just fell in love with the idea of what, one, the purpose was, right? Really for the community to be at center. But 2, I was, you know, during the early meetings and even after that, I became aware of a lot of the inequities that I didn't know were inequities, right? Chago, you got to remember, I was born in Mexico, but grew up in Salinas. That's all I knew. I knew that when I went to a different street, it looked a little different, but I didn't really understand the historical facts and all that, right? And so, and how the systems are. And so building healthy communities really allowed me to, one, become aware of the realities of why it was that I was living in a certain way, how those around me were also being, were not being given access to certain things, but most importantly, that I had a voice and I can do more than I thought I could do, right? During that time, I was like, oh, you know what? I'll go to college, leave, never come back. I'll do my own thing. But after going to all these community meetings and working with other adults and, you know, I met Lauren. Lauren's amazing. She's my mentor. And, you know, Andrea and the whole team, I was able to really find a voice. But more importantly, throughout the next years in my life, BHC opened a lot of doors for me. I was part of the, I believe is the HCC internship. So I got to really have experience in this work firsthand with the team that was bringing all this new stuff to our community. And throughout the years, every time I needed a letter of recommendation or I was unsure if I had made the right professional move, I would call Andrea or I would call Lauren. A lot of tears, a lot of laughter, a lot of different emotions that came being in a field that I never thought I would even get into.
What field was that and for who?
You know the good questions to ask. So I just...
You put in work for the city of Salinas, right?
Yes, I did. I worked there for a little bit over 5 years, or around 5 years, I should say, yes.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, you definitely, I know what you did in there. Like, you made some changes in there. You know, you brought a lot of the spirit into those spaces, into those city government spaces. So I see that. And I, you know, just want to like give it up to you. I mean, I'm going to keep doing that. Like every time I see you, it's going to be like, wow, you're going to take me back. And just, wow. Yeah, I'm going to get emotional again. Bring it back in. And
thank you.
Hey, but before we, not before, but let's go check out this video from another youngster who is is a pretty bright star, Mr. Eric Rocha. Let's hear it from Eric.
At first, I wanted to become an engineer, but after doing a lot of advocacy within the Building Healthy Communities organization, I realized that advocacy was pretty much my purpose. I just graduated from Everett Alvarez High School, and now I'm committed to Stanford University, and I'm most likely going to study sociology. When I applied to Stanford, I originally did political science, just thinking that that would be the best space for me to continue my advocacy. But after doing a little bit more research, I realized that being a politician wasn't for me. Being inside of that system just wasn't going to allow me to make the biggest difference, to make the biggest impact that I knew I could. So that's why I'm switching to sociology. So I started working within Building Healthy Communities my freshman year when I joined Ciclovia. What I value from Building Healthy Communities most is how much they've inspired me to become a leader in my community. I guess one of my biggest inspirations, I guess you could say, was that my parents never went to college. My dad graduated high school, but that was pretty much it. And then my mom dropped out when she was like in the 4th grade to work in the fields in Mexico. Without building healthy communities, I would have been even more unmotivated, because when you're in a space in La Cosecha, like for me, and you see that a lot of kids have their cameras on, because it's an inviting and welcoming space that's a complete contrast to the school environment and online classes. That was one of the most like refreshing things for me to do. Every Thursday, or sometimes even twice a week, we were meeting and discussing how to better the school system, especially in our community. Those people that were in La Cosecha and Ciclovia, you had a genuine connection with, and I think that was something that was a complete opposite, polar opposite from school. But in La Cosecha, there was discussions at the beginning to talk about good things and bad things happening in your life. And there was always like a sort of goodbye where you just say one word about how you feel. And it was those little things that made you feel genuinely connected to the people around me. Specifically for me, allowed me to keep my motivation, because I don't think I would have been able to finish the school year as strong as I did if I didn't have those people around me. One thing that I wish I would have done more of throughout my last 4 years, especially, was to be more critical of my environment. I think there's a lot of things that go on that just happen without anyone checking. There was a lot of things specifically in the school system where they were just following the processes that they've been following for years without anyone ever saying that it was wrong and problematic. So I would say to continue to be critical of your surroundings and even of yourself. I think that's really important if you want to be the best advocate that you can be. If you want to feel like you're making a genuine difference in your community, that you have to join Building Healthy Communities. I always told myself that I wanted to make a difference in the world, but I just didn't know where to start. But when you join an organization like Building Healthy Communities, you have a role and you have like a real voice in your community, and that's something that you don't really find anywhere. I feel like I've made a genuine impact, a tangible and sometimes intangible impact on my community. And if you feel like you want to make a difference in your community that you can see and that you can tell your future generations about, then Building Healthy Communities is the organization for you.
That was so powerful to see, Eric. I remember when he first started, and it's just seeing the transformation. It's pretty amazing.
It's pretty amazing because you've seen it in so many of all the youth that have gone through.
And it looks like Marta Cepeda and Nene Sanchez, I think that's Maria Andreola, and Rosa Gonzalez are engaging in the chat. So thank you for joining us and for engaging in the chat. So now, next we have art, culture. I have the pleasure of introducing Queen Tay.
Oh yeah.
She's a poet, a spiritual life coach, activist.
She's fire, man. She's fire.
She's actually our BHCCHW assistant coordinator, member of the Monterey County Black Caucus, the NAACP, Monterey County Black and Brown Solidarity Coalition, and other coalitions that are working to advance racial equity. But most importantly, she's a loving mother of 6 beautiful children. So Queen Tay.
Queen Tay.
Hello, 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 everyone. And thank you for welcoming me to celebrate BHC's 10-year anniversary. So I put together a poem for you guys, and here it goes. Today, we celebrate the impactful changes that Building Healthy Communities has brought to Monterey County over the past 10 years. Today, we highlight the youth who have become the leaders and have now conquered their fears. Today, we acknowledge the organizers and staff who give this work their blood, sweat, and tears. Today, we will feature the Black leaders developed along BHC within our community through Black power leadership, parent empowerment, and intentional Black and Brown solidarity. Today, our community can start to clearly see how collectively we as humanity can effectively achieve racial equity. Today, we are empowered as a community. Today, we are in constant collaboration. Today, we are lifting up our people. Today, we are having a celebration. Today, we will hear all the wonderful things that everyone has to say. Today, we will see the many reasons that Building Healthy Communities is here to stay. Congratulations on your 10 years, and we wish you hundreds more. With the work that has been done so far, we are looking forward to what the future has in store. Thank you.
Oh my gosh, deep gratitude to Alicia. Queen Tay, sorry.
Queen
Queen
Tay,
Tay.
Queen Tay.
Queen Tay for that.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Queen. Now, let's see. Hey, did we just see JC back there?
Yeah, let's take a quick moment to see what's going on with JC.
See this work.
Yes. Hello, everyone. My name is JC Gonzalez, and I'm with Urban Arts Collaborative. And I'm very happy to be here with everyone, with former staff and present staff, celebrating the 10-year of anniversary of Building Healthy Communities. I am creating a painting with the Fest of Building Healthy Communities, so that way we can, this painting is gonna go to somebody else's home. It's gonna be actioned very soon. Again, my name is JC Gonzalez. I'm with Urban Arts Collaborative, and I'm very happy to be celebrating the 10-year anniversary of Building Healthy Communities.
All right, thank you, JC. That is looking beautiful.
Yeah, I really appreciate him doing this for us. And so next we have an interview with the next person needs a little introduction. He was part of the farm worker movement, but everybody already knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And has a long history with the Salinas Valley. So that Don Sabino.
Don Sabino.
And so if you're on the English, you want to switch over to the
Yes,
Spanish.
please. Yeah, and if you all know how to do this by now.
Para nosotros, en nuestra organización, que fue fundada con el propósito de ayudar a los campesinos a mejorar sus condiciones de vivienda y promover viviendas de bajos ingresos en el condado de Monterrey y Valle de Pájaro, y promover viviendas económicas para nuestra comunidad, que es una de las necesidades principales. Entonces, esta organización se fundó con el propósito de organizar las familias campesinas para enseñarles sus derechos de inquilinos, sus responsabilidades, obligaciones de los dueños, y también que sepan enforzar sus derechos para mejorar sus vidas en sus viviendas, y también ayuden a promover más viviendas económicas para nuestra gente. Yo he visto muchos cambios. Primeramente, la iniciativa de Building Healthy Communities, BHC, fue enfocada en empoderar nuestra comunidad del este de Salinas. Básicamente un sector de nuestra comunidad segregada por años, olvidada por la ciudad, porque sí proveemos muchos recursos económicos a través de los impuestos, pero la ciudad no está invirtiendo lo suficiente para tenerse en otro nivel mejor en la comunidad. Entonces, de ahí que el trabajo de esta iniciativa, de envolver a la comunidad en esta discusión, esta conversación, de hablar de las desigualdades y las inequidades que existen del sistema, y volver a la gente en las soluciones, y también abogar para cambios con la ciudad, trabajando con la ciudad también en cuestión también de educación sobre la discriminación, el racismo. Esta fundación trae buenas ideas, trae buenos programas. Siempre lo que trata es desarrollar poder en la comunidad, desarrollo de nuestro liderazgo, y pone mucha atención a las necesidades de nuestra comunidad, principalmente campesina, que en Salinas somos conocidos en el mundo porque la mayor parte trabaja en el campo. Ha creado muchas oportunidades de progreso en nuestro mismo sector de latinos, que inclusive muchos que promueven mucho la educación y han ido a la escuela y han regresado para atrás después de graduarse a seguir trabajando por la comunidad, y eso es una influencia muy positiva que ha creado esta iniciativa. Y mi esperanza para mí, para los próximos 10 años, me gustaría que la experiencia que ya se adquirió aquí con esta iniciativa en el Este Salinas, primeramente que se siguen forzando los compromisos, porque la ciudad comprometió hacer cambios, seguir invirtiendo, haciendo cambios y progresando, como el Soccer Complex que se va a desarrollar. Ese ha sido parte también de la iniciativa. Creemos que la ciudad cumpla con los compromisos, que se levanten esos desarrollos, que se mejoren las partes que faltan muchas de mejorar, que se continúen, pero también que esta experiencia que se adquirió en el Este Salinas se use como experiencia para seguir a llevarla a un nivel más amplio quizás del condado. Que esta experiencia se mueva también a avanzar a otros sectores del condado a nivel más amplio, con esa idea de promover y cambiar y educar a la comunidad en términos de de las desigualdades y las inequidades que existen y avanzar principalmente la justicia social, que es parte de lo que hacemos. Y gracias a la Fundación de California Endowment y los que han apoyado, gracias a todo el liderazgo que se han vuelto en la comunidad, porque todo esto no hubiera sido posible sin la participación de nuestra gente, que principalmente la mayor parte son campesinos mexicanos que andan aquí luchando por hacer una vida mejor, y otros de otros países también hispanos, latinos, que gracias a eso, gracias a ellos, gracias a su participación, esfuerzo, sacrificio, porque en términos de ser voluntario es una cosa, cuando tienes un trabajo es diferente, pero cuando después de tener tu propio trabajo te voy a agregarte a ser voluntario para avanzar y mejorar otras condiciones. Entonces, para mí, gracias a todo ese liderazgo de la comunidad de familias, de señores, señoras, de jóvenes que han invertido su tiempo y por el interés de mejorar su comunidad, pues otra vez que ojalá que la Fundación de California siga invirtiendo en ese tipo de inversión. Creo que es una forma muy buena de avanzar la justicia social.
Ya dijo don Sabino.
Ya dijo.
Toda
Yeah.
la inversión que se ha hecho en los residentes, en los jóvenes que han regresado y que siga.
And the Don has been there. Don Sabino has been there, and just want to recognize that he's here for us right now. He's still with us, you know, and the value that he brings, having his leadership, his guidance. Yeah, I know. I say that because I know I benefited from it myself. Gracias, Don. Now, we want to go ahead and, it's an honor and a privilege to introduce Las Hermanas Salcedo, a.k.a. Las Clarinas. Oh, man. Part of the Bactun 12 family of performers, Teatro Campesino performers, but in their own right, just creators of music to heal the corazón and the espíritu.
Enjoy.
Yes.
Hi, my name's Anthony Rocha. I'm a city council member for the city of Salinas, and I want to congratulate Building Healthy Communities on an amazing 10 years. 10 years of having a bold vision of engaging residents in the political process, of engaging residents in our budgetary process, and making sure that government is prioritizing investments in our neighborhoods, is prioritizing policies that truly uplift our residents. So I want to thank you for your bold vision, and I want to thank you for your commitment to our community. Residents for many generations to come will benefit from your leadership and from your resident-led initiatives. So thank you and congratulations on an amazing 10 years.
Hello, this is Ian Oglesby, Mayor of the beautiful city of Seaside. I want to wish Building Healthy Communities a wonderful 10-year anniversary. We thank you for all the work you have done in this community. Thank you.
My name is Jane Parker, and I'm here to congratulate Building Healthy Communities on 10 years of fantastic work in our area. You have strengthened our community by empowering community members. Keep up the good work.
Ay, qué bonito ver eso, ¿verdad? Muchas gracias. Ahorita vamos a seguir con Alma Loredo de Padres Unidos, que no es la única identidad, claro, pero aquí nos estamos representando. Pero primero parece que hay mucha conversación ahorita que se está haciendo en el chat. Jackie Cruz, Adriana Peña, Carla Lobo, Elizabeth Ambriz, Verónica Díaz, Tenisha Dan, todos nos están acompañando ahorita en el chat. Qué emoción. Pues Alma Loredo, me da tanto gusto y placer entrevistarte. Sé que has estado con nosotros ya varios años, y ahora ya organizando con nosotros, pero empezaste como padre o madre.
Mamá.
Me gustaría empezar, tenemos poquito tiempo, pero ¿cómo fue que te involucraste con BHC y por qué es importante ese trabajo?
Ay, pues, ¿qué te digo? Yo me empecé a involucrar con BHC cuando los conocí. Cuando conocí la organización fue como un oasis en mi desierto, porque yo no sabía cómo ayudar a mis hijos, específicamente en la escuela, ¿verdad? Entonces, cuando encontré al BHC fue como, encontré a alguien que escucha mis ideas y me dice, vamos a ponerlas en práctica, y mi voz se escuchaba mis ideas, entonces para mí fue maravilloso.
Fue algo diferente a lo que estabas acostumbrado antes.
Claro. Sí.
Y fue con Alma.
Y fue con Alma Cervantes.
A ver, cuéntame, ¿cómo fue que se encontraron con Alma?
Muy curioso. Ella estaba en una junta del distrito escolar y yo estaba ahí también. Y ya nos habíamos conocido muchos años antes. Mis hijas eran Girl Scouts, ella era una líder. Y ahí teníamos esa relación, nos encontramos y fue como, ¡oh, hola! Pero fue como mágico.
Ay, qué padre. Cuéntame un poquito de la importancia de organizarse como madre y como miembro de esta comunidad y qué impacto ha tenido. Nos contaste un poquito, pero ¿qué impacto ha tenido en tu vida?
Pues yo creo que organizarse es muy importante porque es la única manera que puedes encontrar cambios que se van a sostener, que van a perdurar. Y sobre todo encontrar una visión colectiva donde juntos podamos hacer cambios en lo que nos impacta negativamente. Para mí por eso es que es muy importante organizarnos. ¿Y qué ha habido en mi vida? Andrea. No me quiero poner emocional. Es un antes y un después. Es maravilloso. Para mí ha sido un cambio grande porque encontré mi voz. Me ayudaron me reconocieron como un líder, me ayudaron a sanar, me ayudaron a pensar que sí había esperanza para el futuro de mis hijos y de otros niños. Y obviamente no lo hice sola, lo hice con tu mentoría, con la mentoría de Alma, de mis compañeras que están aquí hoy conmigo porque traigo la camisa del comité.
¡Ya la veo!
Entonces decidí hacerlo porque creo que sin ellas, sin mi grupo, sin mis compañeras, sin las tías de mis hijos, sin mis hermanas en la lucha no hubiera logrado nada. Entonces creo que es muy importante reconocer que la organización ha ayudado a los residentes a que encontremos nuestra voz y ha puesto nuestras necesidades al centro Y para mí eso ha sido maravilloso. Entonces sí hay un antes y un después en mi vida.
Y si ahorita que estás pensando del principio ahorita, ¿qué es uno de los logros más grandes que te trae a la mente?
Ay, pues yo creo que lo más grande es imaginarme, no me imaginaba haciendo otra cosa que lo que hacía antes. Ahora lo que hago me apasiona y es un trabajo que voy dejando un legado para mis hijos y para otras generaciones. Ahora tengo ambiciones de profesionales, metas profesionales que antes no tenía. Entonces yo creo que me ha ayudado a soñar para mí y para mi comunidad. Encontré la misión de mi vida, básicamente.
Y yo lo que he notado del grupo de Padres Unidos también, tu liderazgo lo he visto crecer muchísimo, ¿verdad? Con cada momento que va pasando, ¿verdad? La responsabilidad que se te dé, tú vas. Pero definitivamente cuando pienso en el grupo de Padres Unidos, o sea, el trabajo que han hecho con el distrito, especialmente el distrito de Alizal, o sea, que son ya colaboradores.
Ya, y quiero reconocer a mis compañeras, no quiero soltarme el nombre de ninguna, quiero que ellas saben quiénes son y quiero que sepan que ese trabajo no se puede hacer o yo no lo podría hacer sola. Ese trabajo lo he logrado, lo hemos logrado, no lo he logrado yo, lo hemos logrado con el apoyo de la organización y creo que es importante reconocer el liderazgo de cada una porque sin el grupo completo no lograríamos nada de lo que hemos logrado ahora.
Sí, gracias Alma por acompañarnos, por compartir un poquito de tu historia. Y ahora vamos a seguir con una entrevista de Rosemary Soto. Trabaja para el condado y vamos a escuchar un poquito a ver de qué nos cuenta.
Así es, gracias Andrea.
Gracias Alma.
I work for the county in the county administrative office, and my role there is I focus on several initiatives that are priorities of the Board of Supervisors, many of which intersect with the mission and the work of building healthy communities. The biggest impact that building healthy communities has had in Monterey County is that they have brought in a perspective that is very new to the way that we operate in local government and even within our community-based organizations, bringing a focus and almost entirely on community and resident leadership, building community power, and centering community voice in the work that we do as local government agencies and even as community organizations who are part of systems that bring services to our people. Being that this is my community, I grew up here and I was very invested in what an organization like TCE, who had for so long before that funded other initiatives, but in a very standardized way in which was a way that we were all used to. And all of a sudden they had a completely new initiative, a new approach, and new goals and objectives that were grand in its nature and very intentional. One of the things that I was first impressed about is their mission to create this monumental shift of focus from a systems approach to building up community leadership and resident power. I think that is something that will stay with us probably, hopefully forever, because it really was a dynamic that didn't exist before. I think that within our communities, it was what was missing, it was what we needed. GRE is one of the initiatives that I particularly focus on in my work with the county, and I have to say that the TCE was instrumental. In fact, it was a leader in bringing us into the fold of understanding and really learning about not just the concept, but the principles of racial equity in government, and also understanding more about the how. How do you make this happen? How do you bring in these racial equity tools into our everyday practice? And how does it influence and create systemic change, policy change, and transformation across the board, not just within local government, but across our communities with non-governmental agencies and grassroots organizations and even community resident led initiatives. a big part of why we are currently facing and working to eradicate a lot of the social ills that impact our communities so negatively is because for so long our systems have divested in our communities, and it's a big part of why they're so disenfranchised and why we need an entity like TCE to continue to invest in us, invest in our learning experience, invest in building that community and resident power, and invest in the systemic change that needs to happen that can't be done alone. I think some of the strong aspects that I really feel should continue are the advocacy and the power that the BHC brings to the table when they are not just bringing in the voice of community, but they're also providing a lot of leadership training, leadership development of our youth, of our parents, of families in our school systems. They play an integral role. A huge thank you to BHC for the 10 years that you've committed to Monterey County, to the city of Salinas, and a shout out for the next 10 years.
¿Qué onda, JC? Check him out. Look at the work he's doing. And there's more of it. And we're just blessed to have him here with us, doing this, sharing this with our community.
And it's been really awesome that he's been at every single ciclovia. Like that mural, it's one of my favorite things.
Right there at the intersection of
One of my
Alisal and Wood
favorite
Street. I love that. Yeah. We just got to make it permanent now.
I know, moving forward. And so that'll be included in the silent auction. So JC, I think you can hear us. And so what are you painting over there? What are you trying to represent there? Tell us a little bit about it. Yeah, tell us a little bit about him.
Yes, I'm painting the Salinas Ballet.
We want to know a little bit about it.
Yeah, I'm painting the Salinas Ballet, and I'm painting the fist for social equity, and I also have the sun and the background. Again, I want to thank the California Endowment and Building Healthy Communities for inviting me to celebrate the 10-year anniversary. This painting is going to go to someone's home. I'm not that yet, but it's going to look beautiful, and I hope that you appreciate it, and I hope that Building Healthy Communities continues to be here. Urban Arts Collaborative was born of Building Healthy Communities in 2014. We are now located in Chinatown, in Salinas, 21 Soledad Street. So if you want to see our exhibits, they're going to be happening this weekend. And thank you, everyone. Yes. Thank you, everyone, for celebrating with us and building healthy communities. Thank you, Chago, and thank you, Andrea. Thank you, Lauren, and thank you, the California Endowment. Again, I have the Fist for Social Equity and Social Justice, and then I have the Salinas Mountains and the Ballet. I also have the sun on the background.
All right.
It's something that represents
it looks like
everyone.
It's going to be on the silent auction. That's our website. So if you want to get that painting, that original art.
Original art, made in real time.
Yeah, that'll be really great that you can get that. Okay,
So, hey, there's some folks, folks on the chat, right? Who are they? Gabriela Paula, Iris Delgadillo, and one of our champions, Sandra Ocampo, trustee for the Salinas Union High School District. I know she's been showing up for a lot of us. And I could just tell you right now, yeah, seeing her in those places, really feels like, we got people in the work doing
it does.
Yeah.
So
Thank you, Sandra.
Yes, and thank you to all those supporters of our residents and the youth that we work with. It's really incredible. The hard part is really listening. The hard and the easy part, right, is listening to residents and youth and their needs.
Yeah. Because right then and there, you feel like you're just, man, okay, what do I gotta do? You start thinking like, okay, who do I have to call? Once you start hearing the needs, it's like, let's make this happen, because we're supporting, and we know it has to happen because it comes from our residents.
Yeah, so that's the website for those of you that are looking at it. Join in,
yeah. And we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna bring back Lauren. We want to continue this conversation. I know if we had more time, Lauren, but hey, the time that we have with you right now, we're really, really, really grateful you made the trip down here. And so, a big question, and looking at all our 10 years, Lauren, what do you see? What does the future hold? And I ask you because you brought this, you helped shepherd this in. What do we see next 10 years?
Thank you, Chago. That's a great question, una muy buena pregunta. And one that's so timely because the California Endowment sees, we just turned 25 years of the foundation's existence. And if you think back to these last 10 years, there's nothing like that in the work of the foundation in terms of the approaches to really investing in lasting systemic change. And so the question for the endowment is what comes next? What is our next 10, 15 years, 20 years look like? And it's very clear to the foundation that in order to build enduring practices that center residents to advance the kinds of changes that matter to communities,
we have to give time and space for the shout outs right here. And then we'll come back to
all
this.
Right.
Yeah.
We can do that.
Thank you. But no, continue, Lauren, please.
Yeah, absolutely. In order to really see the kinds of systemic changes that communities are prioritized, the foundation has to build on the capacity and leadership of what we've invested in. And so the next 10 years for the endowment really is about continuing to build on the capacity and the leadership, both individual, collective community organizing capacity, to really continue to expand and move forward toward that kind of lasting systems change that communities want to see in their regions. So the endowment is taking the existing work of BHC that is really looking to these communities and expanding to a more regional approach that really builds on the lessons and the practices and the leadership of the 14 communities, and looking at more a regional approach to the lasting systemic change. So building on what is already grown in the communities and expanding it and really, but doing it in a way that is at the direction and leadership of the communities that have been growing this kind of community organizing power.
And that says a lot because this was initiated for the east side of Salinas, the 93905, aka the Alisal, right? And then now, how if it was happening here, it can happen. It can happen anywhere around the county.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
And I just wanted to, I'm into the history, right?
Absolutely.
I'm into the history. I'm into our deep history, and out of the history that I've come to recognize through this work, because of this work, Black community of Monterey County, the Black community of this region, from the before the statehood, you know, there was a black presence in this state, you know, in this region. And I read somewhere, I think it was African American History of Monterey County. It was one of those books, and I read somewhere it was like Alisal back in 1890 was the one community with the biggest black population. All right, and we saw how that all, like the influx, the flux of that. I said it because, you know, man, like that leadership, you know, that community that we owe so much to, that is now, there's now a deeper investment, right, locally. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Absolutely. The original boundaries and the 14 sites as they were created artificially, really in Salinas, it was East Salinas. The advantage of that is we could focus on a discrete area with which to build resident leadership. But the shortfall of that is that we didn't really take into account where our most impacted communities are residing. And when we think about like really building the leadership of those most impacted in this region, we have to center Black lives.
Yeah.
And the foundation, you know, is very committed in investing in the leadership of building Black power, building Black power infrastructure. And what that's looking like here in this region in Monterey County is really building on the legacy and the leadership and the history that has really manifested into moments and movements that can be catalyzed into multiracial organizing for lasting systemic change that get to what's at stake,
Yes.
which is structural racism,
Yeah.
and really, again, building on that leadership to advance that kind of lasting change.
And you all shown that commitment. And we're going to move that commitment forward.
Absolutely.
Before that, though, we're going to hear some more shout outs. All right? Let's hear it.
Hello, my name is Tony Barrera. I'm a council member here in the city of Salinas. We want to congratulate Building Healthy Communities for a healthy, safe, and thriving Alisal. We want to thank all the volunteers, all the people that have made this community a safer place to live, a wonderful place with ciclovia and a lot of opportunity for our young people. So again, we're looking forward to more service with Building Healthy Communities, and congratulations.
Hola, familia de BHC Alisal. Les saluda Lucina y les quiero felicitar por su aniversario de 10 años. Estoy muy orgullosa de todo lo que han logrado con mucho esfuerzo y mucho amor para toda la comunidad de Alisal.
On behalf of the Monterey Peninsula Unified School District, I want to congratulate Building Healthy Communities on 10 years of service to the community. Thank you for your advocacy and for the progress that you've made in service of our students.
Pleasure of interviewing you, Rosalind Green, you know, BHC Black Power Building Manager and Trustee for MPC. And so, you know, just getting started with our short but sweet conversation, you know, what has being part of BHC meant to Seaside and to the peninsula? And, you know, what impact has it had on you?
So BHC has been a refreshing breath of fresh fragrance of strength and solidarity in Seaside and on the peninsula. It has allowed us to capitalize the unity and community. With the presence of BHC, we have built resident leadership, empowered parents and youth, and just cultivated a culture of equity and inclusion. For me personally, the direct impact has been tremendous. So I was just, you know, a native of Seaside, a parent of 4. 2 of my children had already gone through district, and I had one son in school district that was experiencing a lot. He was funneling in the school to prison pipeline. So I had to sacrifice my evenings on every other Tuesday and religiously show up to school board meetings to advocate. So I became an activist. And that's where I met the folks from BHC. And we started having the conversation around dismantling the school to prison pipeline.
Which was a new term for you, right?
Yes.
You lived it, you know, but
absolutely. Yeah. And at the time I was a parent leader with the Village Project.
Oh, yeah.
And so there was a lot of moving parts, and everything just fell together gracefully as it should. I mean, BHC was a blessing for me because now, you know, there was a team of us. There was I felt like, you know, more boots on the ground. And so I started organizing. I became a panel speaker, and then I transitioned from, you know, the Village Project, which was service work, into the movement with building healthy communities. And, you know, I started organizing full time. BHC gave me the bandwidth, you know, the mental capacity and the energy to really organize against racial injustices. And so I am a prime example of what happens to, you know, your ordinary resident, because I am now elected official in education, and I serve as governing board trustee at Monterey Peninsula College.
What a tremendous accomplishment, right?
Yeah.
Going from a parent who's experiencing some injustices to fighting for it, you know, really getting the bandwidth, like you said, the space to organize, and then sitting as a trustee, an elected official, you know? Sometimes we forget sometimes you're an elected official. We need more elected officials like you out there,
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah.
And so as we're thinking about, you know, reflecting on the past 10 years, thinking about the future of the 10 years, what do you think that means? Like, where do you think we're going, and what do you think it means for the Black-led organizing work?
So for Black-led organizing work, in the next 10 years, I've visualized us thriving, you know, in the community, in the county, in the region, you know, across the state, across the nation. I am seeing, you know, investment in the Black community. You know, as we know that in order for the community to truly be healthy, you know, we have to heal the Black community. So if the Black community is thriving, then we're all thriving.
You know, sometimes it's a foreign concept to folks, right? It's like, you know, if we really focused on the Black community and we lifted up the Black community, we would all thrive.
Absolutely.
We would all benefit from that, right?
Yeah.
And so, you know, with your leadership, really getting us to that place to lift up, and I know you've been supporting, you know, Black and brown parents too. So it's not just the Black leadership work, but it's like Black and brown parents and that unity. So thank you so much, Rosalyn. I know this was brief and short. We let you know, saved you for last, sweet last. But thank you so much for sharing a little bit of your story, and I look forward to the work, you know, that we'll see moving forward.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rosalyn.
And so doing a last quick check-in to thank our sponsors. Thank you again for supporting us, for making this event possible. Chispa, the California Endowment, Envision Housing from Santa Cruz, Natividad Medical Foundation, Teamsters, Harnell College and TCE. I think I mentioned TCE. TCE. And Action Council, because they have been giving us a home for the past, I can't count. What's after 2013?
2000. What's that? What do you mean?
How many years has it been since 2013?
That's what? 7 years? No, 8 years.
8 years.
8 years. Wow.
Yeah, and to all our funders that have continued to support our work throughout the years, you know, the Monterey Peninsula Foundation, Antiba Gransom, Packard Foundation, Community Foundation, First Five, United Way, James Irvine Foundation, just really thanking them for their support.
And let's thank to, you know, shout outs to those who are just active, showing support right now in real time. Ana Ibarra Castro, Rosemary Soto, Lavisha, she's like Queen Tay. aka Queen Tay. She's showing the love. And hey, you know what? We just want to give it up for the folks that are bidding online right now as we speak. There's a lot of activity. Feeling really grateful for that. Thank you.
Awesome. It's good to see that Ana Ibarros here started us with Ciclovia. And we're doing one last check-in with JC to see how it's going, because that's one of the items that are going to be out for auction, right?
With
and
the
so just to
maestro.
see how the art is going and really appreciating JC.
Yes, hello everyone.
There it is.
This is
Wow.
the painting.
Yeah, yes.
It's gonna
Look
go
at that.
to a beautiful home.
That's beautiful, man.
And I hope
That's
you continue celebrating
amazing.
building healthy communities with us.
Can we can hear him? All right.
Thank you so much, JC. I always love the vibrant colors he uses. It's so awesome. And so I guess this takes us to the end of our evening.
Yeah, we're here. We got to this point in the show, and I just want to say, like, Las Hermanas Salcedo, as we close this up right now, they're playing this music, son jarocho music. There's a deep root in history around there too. I'm not gonna get into it because I think
Yeah.
you know.
And I actually danced with Karina Salcedo and Tonatiu. That's how I met her.
Wow.
But yeah, I just want to thank everybody who joined us virtually, those that were able to be guests and speakers to share a little bit of the story, those that engaged in the chat. I heard the chat was on fire, so thank you so much for engaging with us. But most importantly, really thanking the youth and the residents that have put in hard work to get us here and that have a strong vision for our future.
Hey, you know who you are. Le damos las gracias a ustedes. Thank you so much.
Gracias.
And now,
we leave you with Las Hermanas.
Las Hermanas Salcedo, Las Clarinas.
Thanks to the event planning team too.
Esmeralda, Chuy, Dulce, Mag1. Oh, yeah.
Arlene.
Boom.
This is Salinas City Councilman Steve McShane wishing Building Healthy Communities a very happy 10-year anniversary. When I think of BHC, I think of the incredible impact that's been made on behalf of all residents. Advocacy, access to open space, park enhancements, and more than anything, events like Ciclovia that pull the whole community together. Thank you, BHC, for all you've done for Salinas, and here's to many, many more years ahead.
Congratulations on 10 years building healthy communities. I am so grateful to the work that you've done over the last 10 years and the impact you've made on not only East Salinas, but the greater Monterey County. I'm excited to see what the future holds for you, and I am so proud to be a partner in the work.
Over 10 years, Hi, this is Councilwoman Carla Viviana Gonzalez with a quick shout out to Building Healthy Communities, BHC, for 10 years of service. For over 10 years, BHC and the collectives that they work with have fostered youth leadership, have empowered our residents, and have strengthened our families and the ties that bind. They demonstrate every single day what the power of community can do. Congratulations, BHC. Here's to another 10 years.
Hello everyone. My name is JC Gonzalez with Urban Arts Collaborative, and again I want to thank Building Healthy Communities for the 10-year anniversary. Here's the finished painting. I hope it goes to our home, and again, let's celebrate Building Healthy Communities again. Thank you.